So just a brief overview of the kind of work that I usually do then. Overall, I work with professionals, practitioners and parents as well. Anybody who's basically involved in the life of children and particularly vulnerable young children. And I'm very passionate about supporting the social and emotional competence and social and emotional well-being of children and young people. And one of the things I talk about quite a lot in my training is um, helping all of those people to understand a little bit more about what's going on inside children's brains. Because although neuroscience, brain development sounds like a very complicated, and it can be a very complicated subject, actually we don't need to know a great deal about brain development to help us to have enough insights and information that it can really inform the way we work with children and young people. So as we go through this course, we'll be looking a little bit at some minor aspects of brain development, but within a wider picture of supporting children with grief and loss. So here is an overview of the course. Then it's called Readiness and Recovery, Helping Children with Separation, Grief and Loss. And some of you may, especially those of you who have had your own young children or worked with young children, may be familiar with this character here. So this is the bear from We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And this bear makes a frequent appearance in my grief and loss training because, as you'll know if you know the story, the premise of the Going on a Bear Hunt story is we can't go over it, we can't go under it, we can't go round it, we've got to go through it. And that's very much the story for grief for any of us, not just for children. But of course, when we are working with and supporting a child who is in distress or pain or other difficulty, around a bereavement or a separation of some kind, it can be very instinctive to kind of rush them through that process because we don't want them to be in pain. So we might try to go over it or around it. But actually the only way we can really fully support a child's recovery in the face of a separation or a bereavement or a loss is to ensure that they go through that, but that they receive the right kind of support while they do. And that's very much the idea of this course. So, what we're going to cover in this course then. So, this is a course outline. There are 3 modules within the course, and each of those 3 modules has 3 lessons. I will introduce the 3 lessons at the beginning of each module, but for now I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the modules themselves. So, Module 1 is an introduction to bereavement and loss. Module 2, we'll be looking at ways to understand and support bereaved young people. And then Module 3 will be taking our learning from those first 2 modules and thinking about how we actually use how we use that learning and we turn it into action to support readiness and recovery. So that's really very much thinking about how we can use our knowledge and the insights that we've learned and how we can use that to make a difference to the children and young people we support. So I'm going to move on now to Module 1 and Lesson 1, so please join me when you're ready.